All right, guys, happy Friday to you. Another Fire Friday. It is Friday, April 19th. Can you believe it? April 19th. We already cranking into the year. It's been a crazy year already, right? And crazy is good. Crazy is exciting. Embrace the craziness. So many great opportunities out in front of us all over the place. So we're really excited. Every Friday, we talk on Fire Fridays, we talk about agent attraction. We talk about the platform on eXp Realty and the opportunity to enhance what you're doing, to enhance the lives of others, to serve others, to build a huge opportunity. And that's what we do. And we help each other with that. And some of our great friends are kind enough each week to come in and chat with us and kind of share their path and what has worked for them and what they've learned along the way. And our goal is, for people that are farther down the road, we want to hear from them about, where the potholes are to avoid, where the shortcuts are, what mindset and what actions may have, helped them in building success. So we're really pumped today because our good friends that we love hanging out with you guys. Tom and Marissa Truong are here, and they are EXP OGs. They have been here from the early days, and they have helped a ton of people. You can see on their agentsgetfree.com, their group. So our group is Fund Your Reason, FYR. And you can see the commonality between that, right? Ours is Fund Your Reason, building that great life, and theirs is Agents Get Free, which is building that freedom. And freedom, we talk about your time freedom, right? Being able to do the things that you want to do, and then the financial freedom, which I've always defined as being able to make the decisions you want to make without first having to go back and checking your bank account for permission, right? Tom and Marissa have built an incredible organization worldwide. They have been in the real estate business. I don't even know how long you guys have been in the real estate business. How many years?
19 years this year.
19 years. There you go. So 19
amazing?
years in the real estate business, and have sold a ton of business, residential, commercial, you name it, all the things. They have expanded their group out all over the world. They helped introduce us to our friend Jim Huang, who was just on here recently and built EXP Commercial from scratch. So they've done so many different things. They are constantly giving back, constantly serving other people. They just finished hosting their third regional rally. So doing that in the Northeast. They are on stage. You've probably heard them at Build multiple times and at all the other events that are out there. So guys, thank you for being here. Love you guys. I'm so excited to hear from you. I'm going to kind of open it up and let you guys run, and then we're here to kind of guide through the conversation as we go.
You got it. Well, good morning, good day, everybody. This is Tom Truong, and it is a pleasure to be here. It is always an honor and a massive responsibility to be on these calls with you. This is my only business call today, and Fire Friday is it. That is it.
Woohoo!
Right after today, I'm going. Marissa talked me into going away for a weekend. And
hang
Marissa,
on a second.
What are we doing this weekend, honey?
Well, first of all,
you're in trouble, Tom.
This morning I was like, well, I'll see you on Monday. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going on a retreat. And he's just like, I want to go on a retreat. I'm like, okay. But here's the thing about my retreat. It's tech free and we eat all meals in loving silence. And I don't know if Tom can actually do those two things because he never stops talking.
Very hard.
And he's never not like communicating and engaged with people electronically. So I just told him he's okay to come as long as he doesn't yuck my yum. It's like my new favorite expression. Don't yuck my yum, you guys.
Are we taking bets? Are we taking what's the over under on how long Tom lasts on that?
Exactly. It's gonna be very hard to stay away from this guy right here.
He's already said that tomorrow at some point he's going to step away from this beautiful 70-acre campus to find a coffee shop to go do something else. I'm like, you're already planning to not do this, right?
It sounds about right.
Yeah. So I guess Dave and Kristen, I guess maybe we'll just start at the beginning and roll you through to where we are today in terms of agent attraction. Is that cool?
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So 19 years in the business, folks, and for the first 9 years, Marissa and I built our real estate offices here in Greater Boston. We bought a small franchise called Realty Direct. It was actually based out of Virginia, DC, Maryland area, right? Closer to you guys, right? And I knew right out of the gate when I left my corporate world as the insurance professional for a publicly traded company that I wanted to be my own boss. I'd spent 13 years building someone else's business, someone else's publicly traded business. And I figured, man, I got to do this for myself. And so got into real estate in 2005. We bought a franchise even before either of us were licensed, right? And then Marissa went and got her real estate license first. We basically burned the boats, burned the bridges, and just got into real estate full time because we knew just wanted to be our own bosses. And man, was that stressful, okay? I hired my first broker to run our office. Her name is Pam, beloved Pam Pinto's no longer with us, but man, she was a dear friend. Later on, a business partner to open up our third office. So we took her from Exit Realty, paid her $500 a month way back in 2005 to be our broker. And she taught Marissa the business while I was flipping houses. 2007, 8 came, the crash came. You guys all, if you've been in the business long enough, you know.
Wait, so Tom, hang on. I'm going to back him up a little bit because while Tom was flipping houses, Pam, we were hiring multiple different agents depending on where those properties were to sell them for us or to acquire them, to look for the deals. And Pam had said to me at one point, you know, you should just get your license. Your ROIs on your flips will look a lot different if you can actually include those commissions. And so what happened, and at the time I was with another brokerage that also starts with an E, but ends with a T.
I already said it, honey. Exit Realty.
Okay, Exit Realty. And there's an X in the middle of it. But so I got my license, and then what happened was when I was sitting open houses, I started picking up clients. It was like natural because I had been in customer service and front facing with the public in other like careers I've had. And so it was, the flipping thing was going great, like Tom said, but the brokerage was just sort of like an extra income stream for us. It wasn't something that we were planning on actually making our priority. And then go ahead, Tom, sorry.
Yeah. So the recession came, we had about a dozen agents, and then we were all suck and win. It was hard, right? It was really hard. And then we had a decision to make. Marissa actually went back to get a full-time job, and I stuck with it with the business, and I found a partner. I did my first merger slash acquisition with another brokerage guy named Patrick. He had an agency of about 10, I had about 15. We rolled it together. We shut down his office and rolled it into my office, and then we grew through that.
And so hang on, I'm going to stop a second here.
You want to tell the story? How do you go?
No, I just want to introduce.
Bring us up to today then. Go.
Well, no, I'm not going to do that. What I wanted to say is that the reason I went back to get a full-time job is because both of our daughters at the time were very little. And I don't know if you guys have ever had to pay for health insurance before with a family. It was super expensive. And so to be an entrepreneur and then have that additional, somebody had to basically kind of carry that part of it. So if any of you guys have had similar struggles, I'm sure that you can understand, like sometimes you have to make sacrifices that you don't want to.
Yeah, I think everybody on here can identify with that one.
Okay, go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
I'm not going to keep going. Bring us to 2024, Marissa.
Nope, I'm done. I promise that's the last time.
All right. Went out and merged and basically went door knocking, went sold. I had to make it. Literally, there were about 2-year period where I hardly saw Marissa, hardly saw Olivia. Chloe was just born, hardly saw her because I had to make it in real estate. I would have been easily iconed as the way we know it, at icon today, right? Door knocked until literally my knuckles bled. Door knocked until it was obnoxious to be door knocking at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, right? But I had to do it, and in short period captured. When we got to about 75 agents in the Quincy, Massachusetts market, our office had captured 5% market share, and most people would tell me in the business that 5% is you'll never get past that. That is a massive milestone to ever hit in the marketplace, 1 out of 20 transactions. And so what I was going to do next was we started expanding outside of the area. Got into the fourth office, and then by the late 2023, when we finished filing our taxes, I just like, what am I doing? 4 offices were barely making money. If we weren't competing broker owners, we would not have the lifestyle that we had. The brokerage itself did not throw off enough income to sustain our lifestyle. So for the next year, repositioned the office, consolidated, got rid of about 30 agents because we instituted monthly fees. A lot of us sounds familiar with what EXP is doing, right? We instituted $50 per month monthly fee. Immediately, 30 agents dropped, but it didn't matter. Those agents wasn't doing much business anyhow. Got it down to about 90 agents, and then packaged it all up and sold it to Carrington Real Estate Services in late 2014. Went to work for Carrington to earn out for the next 2 years. Earned out. They paid me 4 times EBITDA. And by the time we earned out, they paid 4.2 times EBITDA, earnings before income taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Pretty healthy for a brokerage because I grew through it. Didn't have to worry about paying the bills, $80,000 per month, not to carry 4 offices, expenses, so on and so forth. All that went away, and was happy selling basically icon activities, 36 closings a year, and then Marissa supported the business. We have a saying in our family that I make it rain, and she puts out the bucket to catch all the rain. So and nothing falls through the cracks. And really, that's how our business still is today. Tracy Gagnon and Scott Lewis approached me in late December 2017. Was not looking at all, was very happy, but got my attention. I guess the reason they really got my attention was they found a video that talked about a promise that I made to my mother 2 weeks before she passed. And that promise, I did not know she was going to pass 2 weeks later, but that promise was to basically help at least 100 people become personally and financially free through what I was doing, which was real estate. I come from a family of 8 brothers and sisters, 3rd youngest. 3 of us don't have three of us only have a college education. The other 5 have PhDs, MBAs, 2 doctors in the family, engineers, all that. And at least in our family, higher education was very, that's what my mom wanted. And I was an entrepreneur. I was the guy who filed bankruptcy twice leading up to where I was, right? And at the very end, she knew, guys, that whenever there was a family vacation, I was the first guy to raise my hands to say when, where, didn't ask how much, didn't have to check with my boss. Like Dave said earlier, I could fund my reason. I could fund my why, right? Didn't have to check the bank account to see can we go, honey, can we go, right? And so she knew that.
This real estate thing with people that.
There were many times when we, took out a whole Airbnb because we knew some of the family just couldn't afford it, and we just made it easy for everybody to come. So she knew in the later years that we had found that freedom, that financial freedom, that personal freedom. So, but I knew when Tracy showed me the program that I could help myself, but I really did not have a way to help others. And the revenue share was the way to help others become financially free without having to put my name on a lease to personally guarantee something, without having to fund other people's businesses, give them $40,000 here, $40,000 there, and then when their business goes bankrupt, not only did I lose my money, I might lose a friendship and familyship and all that stuff, right? And so started building EXP, and that was January of 2018. When we came back from Watercolor, Florida, and I started hitting the ground doing the business. Now, Marissa, why don't you tell your story, honey, in terms of when I came to you and says, hey, let's do this new thing. And then bring it all the way to when you said, this is our thing now, not your little project.
Okay. So for the folks that are on this call, you can sort of tell Tom is a very passionate person. When he commits to something, he's all in, and he never leaves kind of his foot on home base. I guess that's the expression. I'm not a sports person, but he's very passionate about what he does. And out of necessity, for the sake of sanity reasons, like I'm much more conservative, much more like prone to ask more questions and, investigate things more. He's like one of those people that's just like, just go. Don't even bother aiming, just shoot. And I'm more of that person that is like very systematic about when I make a decision or when I'm looking at an opportunity. And to Tom's point, when we were with Carrington and he was doing his earnout and I was in production, we were doing fine. We were doing great. But then Tom, what he didn't put into that conversation was then he got elected to be the president of the Asian Real Estate Association, which would require that he was traveling to all the different chapters across the country and worldwide, at least I'd say 200 days of the year. And I'm like, how is this going to work for us, right? I mean, if he's going to be doing that kind of traveling, and I'm a local realtor, and our kids are still, one of them at one point was in college, and the other one was still home. Like, how is that going to work for our relationship if he's going in one direction and I'm going in the other? And how are we going to finance this? Because for 19 years, we've been building this brand of Team Truong, and it didn't work without Tom because he was the front face of our business. Like, if you look on social media, you won't see a lot of me because I'm always kind of in the back doing other things, while like we've always positioned him as being the face of the business. So how could we continue to be local realtors when he's everywhere? And he came to me and said, I found a solution. And I remember the night that he actually watched the video, because we still do the same thing we do then that we do now, is that Tracy had sent him a video and he watched it and he could not sleep. The next morning, he's calling Scott Lewis and asking questions. Like, he was so excited.
Grilled him, baby. Grilled Scott.
Yeah, he was so excited about it. And I'm like, this is just another thing. Remember, at this point, we'd been married for I think 15 years at that point, and we had been together for 7 before that, so I knew him. And as brilliant as a man as my husband is, the way life works is not everything that you participate in, you end up being successful at. And so because he's like the serial entrepreneur, he tried so many different things, bagel shop. At one point, we owned a country club that did like Sunday brunches, and then there was just a lot. He was always kind of looking at new opportunities, and I just thought this was just something else. So in my true skeptic form, I just nodded my head and said, that's great, honey. I'm just going to keep still selling houses. And it was kind of like the revenue share component was his business. And so that first month, I remember that check was like $200. And I'm like, good job. Like, at the same time, I'm still doing that 36 transactions a year, right? Like, I'm helping buyers and sellers. I had one buyer agent at the time, and I wasn't the broker anymore, which was awesome because I didn't have to worry about that stuff. And then the next month, it got to be like $1,000. I'm like, good job, honey. And then it got to like,
she kept saying, how's your little project?
Yeah, I kept saying,
how's your little EXP project going?
Your business is doing great. Like,
competitive much?
Just a little bit. But then like when our revenue share check, notice I say our now, when the revenue check started getting to like 5 figures, and then they started surpassing the monthly commissions that I was making with transactions, it became our business. Like, how is our business going? Did you get that person? Did they watch the video? Did you follow up with them? Are they coming to the next event? Like, it's just a system. And we kept drilling. I kept drilling, and I didn't really believe it until I saw it. So for the folks that are on this call, if you sort of are like kind of half in, half out, I 100% relate to you, because that's the way I was for a long time. I did not believe it until I could see it. And being with someone that's like serial entrepreneur, you know that the risk also can be great and the losses are great. Tom mentioned through two bankruptcies, we had to stick it out. We had to borrow money from family and friends to make mortgage payments and to put food on the table. And at the same time, we had 2 children that we were trying to raise through the business. And so it wasn't easy, but again, there's no greater reward until you take those types of risks. And I still have to continue to tell myself that every day. I still have to sometimes pinch myself. We wake up in the morning and like, so I'll give you another quick story. This is this morning's conversation. We still are in the business of flipping houses. We still buy properties, fix them, put them on the market. And we were supposed to have a closing today. And Tom is just like, what's going on with the closing? And I was like, oh, we've got titles. He's like, well, we need this much money to close. Do we have that? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. Like, he doesn't even know at this point what we've got as far as in the bank anymore, because it doesn't matter. Like, there isn't anything that we would want to do that we can't do now because money is an obstacle, where before all of our decisions were based on the money that we did not have. So, I mean, granted, we're no Gene Frederick, but not a lot of people can see that they are.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that's coming off of, like, it's the 19th of the month. That's coming off of being a huge tax bill on the 15th, which he doesn't even know about. Did you know about that?
Nope.
See?
Not my job, not my department.
You know, Marissa, Gene Frederick calls that left column living. If you go to the restaurant, if you don't have to look at the right column to choose what you want to eat, right? You're not going.
It is so true.
Really would love that steak, but that tomahawk steak is like $120, right?
Yeah.
That's just irresponsible, right? You look at the left column, pick the food you want, and that's what you order. So you get to that point where the right column is no longer dictating the decisions that you make, and that's you know, the menu is just a
That's it.
symbol of life in general. But you know, it's like, hey, what are the things I want to go do, right? So talk to us a little bit. You know, when you started building it.
Kyle asked a great question in there, Dave.
Oh, do it. Yeah,
jump on. Let me talk to you about what happened at the beginning, guys. I'm not sure about the audience. Who in the audience is just starting to build revenue share, if you're in the heat of it at all. But I'll tell you how I started. So we were making, let's call it $300,000 a year. We were clearing $300,000 a year just from a real estate sales business, right? And that was $25,000 a month. And basically I said to Scott and Tracy, I said, what, and Gene, by the way, I talked to Gene a lot and Rob Frick a lot back then when they were really in the heat of the business. I said, what do I need to do to get to basically $20,000 a year $20,000 a month in revenue share, okay? In revenue share, because if I just got that consistently for 6 months, 9 months, a year in a row, then I got something, right? We've got our other investments that funded our lifestyle. If 20 came in residually, that's all I wanted. And so their question to me back was, well, how many hours can you put into the business? Well, remember, we're still selling houses. I've got these other businesses that I'm running as well. I'm like, you know what? I could carve out 2 hours a day to list agents instead of list houses. Okay, because I learned that from the mall. When you list the house, you get paid once. You list an agent, you can get paid forever through revenue share. Okay, I understood that. Okay, so if I worked 10 hours a day before revenue share, before EXP, I'd carve out 2 hours just for agent attraction. And I kept 8 hours to do everything else in our business. Okay. And I said, if I focused on 2 hours a day for 2 straight years, I think I can get to 20,000 a month. Okay. Scott Lewis, he did it 10 hours a day for a year. So he got it done in very short order, but I couldn't do 10 hours a day at the beginning. Okay. And that was my habit, Kyle. I mean, I was really serious about that. Every day I start off making a long list, right? And then started inviting the 5 steps of agent attraction, right? We can get into details of that later, but it just followed the 5 steps of agent attraction. And then I had a wealth chart up. From day one, I had my wealth chart up on my wall. Okay, I still have a wealth chart up today. If I did not make at least 2 hours of calls a day and had at least 2 live conversations with 2 new agents a day about EXP, I would not allow myself to rest at night. My head would not hit the pillow until I had those conversations. So when it got to be 7 p.m. East Coast time, Eastern time, I knew it was only 6 p.m. Central time. So I'd call into Central time zone. And then when it got past 9 p.m. here in Massachusetts, and I had not made my phone calls, I would call into Mountain time, and then I'd call into Pacific time, and then I'd call into Hawaii time. I was not going to give myself an excuse like, oh, it's already 10 p.m. here in Massachusetts. Well, 10 p.m. here in Massachusetts is only 5 p.m. in Hawaii, and that's why I have a Hawaii group now, because I made those phone calls. Does that make sense, everybody? And I was my own accountability partner. Scott Lewis was my other accountability partner. Every week, I would text him my wealth chart for a while there. When I came up with the Rock the Comma, I did come up with that. The Rock the Comma is to get to 1,000 agents. We were about 300 agents. I watched a very old video that Gene, Rob, and Scott Lewis did, where they wanted to bring EXP to 1,000 agents, all of EXP to 1,000 agents. And they used this tagline, Rock the Comma. I said, can I steal that? Can I use that? They said, absolutely. So we were at about 300, and I want to rock the comma for our business. So for that 1 year, I was texting Gene Frederick and Scott Lewis my wealth chart once a week, because I needed them to jump on three-way calls for me. They knew I was active in the business and so on and so forth. All right. So that's what I did. Okay? And in about 2 years, we hit $20,000 a month. Okay. And that was about 300 agents. You know, back then, before the buffer, 300 agents, and we opened up all 7 tiers, gave us about $240,000 a year in revenue share. Okay. When the buffer hit, that went back tremendously, right? So we continue to build. When I got the taste of the 20,000 a month, I couldn't stop. And so we said, hey, let's get to 40,000 a month. Let's rock the comma, get to 1,000 agents with the buffer. That'll bring in about 40,000 a month, or $500,000 a year. And so it took us. First year, I went from 1 to 150, let's say. Second year, 150 to 300. Third year to 400. Then we did rock the comma. Fourth year, we went from 400 to literally 1,000. Okay, in 1 year, because I doubled down. I just went into our leaders markets, went into markets and just did events after events after events on the road, at least 200 days out of the year, to find leaders to help them build and build depth and build into the lower tiers and light the fire is what a lot of people say. Light the fire in the basement. Get someone down below, and then it'll light everybody right back up the ladder. Okay. And today, for the past basically 18 months, we've been steady, believe it or not. We've added about 40 agents a month, and we've lost about 40 agents a month, right? But the good thing is revenue share continues to increase. So the weak are falling by the wayside, and the strong are getting stronger. Our revenue share is continuing to grow at a nice pace, while the headcounts remains pretty much flat.
Yeah.
For the past a year and a half, let's call it.
Okay. I think a lot of people miss that. Yeah, that's an important point, because a lot of people look at their numbers and they worry about the numbers. And it's a really, really important thing to note is that right now, anytime, and you and I have been in the business, you know, we've been in the business, you know, long enough to have seen this before. For me, I'm coming up on 25 years, right? Yeah. And it's you know, we've been through downturns and changes and slowdowns and everything else like that. Bad news, market, you know, mortgage rates changing and that kind of stuff, right? And so when it's hot, everybody gets in. When it's bad, everybody gets out, and fewer people get in, right? So when it's hot, everyone's getting their license and that kind of stuff, and people are getting into the business. So with the churn, with the slowdown in the market, with the interest rates higher, things being a little bit harder, you know, and that kind of stuff, fewer people are getting into the business and more people are getting out. And so the number of bodies is fewer. However, what that does is it gets rid of some of the dilution in the number of homes per producing agents, the ones who are working hard and who are out there going after it, actually have the opportunity to close more deals per agent because there's fewer people out there snagging, my aunt and uncle's house that they decided to list, and it's the only deal I've ever done since I got my license, kind of a thing. Right now, those deals are going to other people. So what happens is the quality of the people in your group, if you're doing it right, you continue. Like I said, you're bringing in 40 people, but you're bringing in 40 people who are dedicated and focused on building a successful business, and you're losing 40 people who are at the point of like, hey, this is too hard and I'm not really that committed to it. I'm going to go back to another career or something. And that's okay. But the bottom line, what that means for you guys and for us is that it's what you have now is a stronger group. And so, you actually, your head count may stay the same, may go back slightly, or it may only increase a little compared to what we've seen in the past. But don't judge yourself on head count. Judge yourself on quality right now, because when the tide recedes, it reveals who's wearing a bathing suit and who's not, right?
That's right.
And so you kind of figure out, what's your organization? What do you have? As the tide's receding, how strong is your community? How strong are the opportunities for your people right there? Because when it comes back again, if you're strong, you're going to shoot way ahead of everybody else, and you'll start growing at a really fast pace again, but you'll be doing it with a high level of quality. We're
definitely looking forward to that. We see that, Dave. I mean, so we track our numbers every month. I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a CFO by training, so I track my numbers. So check out these numbers, okay? For the first 3 months of 2023, we had about 1,300 agents, okay? Actually 1,250 to be fair. We had 1,250. Today we have about 1,350. Okay, so over a year we only increased it a net of 100 agents. Okay, it's for the first 3 months of 2023, we did 352 million in sales volume, consisted of 864 transactions. In 2024, we went from 864 transactions for those first 3 months to 1,382 transactions, increased by 60% transaction in 3 months. That's volume-wise, 351 million to 557 million. Wow. The same, and we only increased headcount by 100 agents. So we again, our sales volume track our transaction volume, almost 60% growth.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that is at a time when, in general, there are fewer transactions per agent being closed right now. And there, in general, the market was down, 18 to 30%, depending on where you were.
That's right. And that's why, when I'm speaking to our team, I'm like, this is the time. You should be so excited about the market receding. You should be so excited that agents are leaving the business. It's quite okay. Because guess what? Just because they're leaving the business doesn't mean the business left the real estate industry. There's still people buying, selling, having babies, getting divorces, dying, this, that, and the other. There's still transactions. There's still agents who are not going to give up on real estate. Their broker might not be doing so well. Their broker might be contracting, while we take the opportunity to expand. And just got to get out and just got to get out and get the word out and let people know you're still fired up as ever. And we're the safe haven now. We're the place to be, right? EXP is the place to be now. And so you got to let people know that.
Yeah, there's more opportunity to help people now than ever, right? There's some uncertainty with fewer units per agent, out there, right? As your group is a great example of. It doesn't mean there's less opportunity. You just need to be more skilled to go get the opportunity. But because we've had such a long run of an easier market, so many people have not needed to build the skills to go out and get the business, right? And so we're dealing with a much less skilled workforce. And so that those who have the skill and the work ethic are going to get the business. And so it's a huge opportunity. And a lot of people, maybe they bring the work ethic and the desire, but they're not being provided with the skills. Because right now, let's face it, I mean, even a lot of brokers and managers and offices haven't been in the business at a time when they needed skills. So they're leading the office, but they haven't built it themselves. They don't know how to teach it. And so this is a chance for agents to get free or to fund their reason, whatever, like with our mission to go help people succeed and our groups having that support system to go do that. This is the time to go find people who have the desire and the drive, right? I will say it's 3D. It's desire, drive, and direction. Those are the three things that everybody needs. And I always tell people, if you bring the desire and you bring the drive, I'll provide the direction.
I like that.
All right. And that's what we do. And so if you go identify, you don't need everybody. Don't find people out there that say they want, and everybody wants to make money and build a successful business. Find the ones who are taking action. Maybe they're just not taking the right action right now. Right. And find them and say, hey, listen, we can help you take the right actions. You're spending money on this, you're buying leads over here, you're trying this over there, you're out there, hustling. What if you could be more effective and more efficient in your actions and your activities, right? So that's where we get to lean in and do that. So this is such a great time to go find people and provide that, because the number of people, the end result is that you get revenue share, but the path to get there is serving people and helping them succeed.
Sure. Absolutely. I love that.
Talk to us
about some
about
questions from the crowd. I want to take the questions from the audience. What do you think?
Let's do it. No, go for it.
What do you guys, what's on your mind, folks? Agent attraction related. Anything.
I'm more interested in the type of script that you're using to have these conversations.
Okay. I'm finding, so Abdul is my newest frontline agent. Welcome to the call, Abdul.
Thank you.
Hey, Abdul.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well, let's roll back the clock, Abdul. When I approached you, what did I say for you?
You said 30 days. You said you get me more leads than I can handle.
If you plugged in and learned KV Core.
Yeah.
If you plugged in and learned KV Core. I didn't say I was going to give you any leads. I'm going to teach you how to plug in and generate more leads you can handle, right?
That's correct.
So how's that going, Abdul? Are you getting leads?
It's going good. I'm getting leads. I mean, every day I say I'm pulling in probably about I'd say 10 leads. Following up on those, so that number is definitely skyrocketed since I've jumped over, and I've been following exactly what Tom's been telling me to do, which is good.
There you go. So Abdul, I knew I basically stalked Abdul on MLS to see what he was doing. Right, I met him at a networking event. I stayed in touch, said hello, and then followed up with him. And he kept saying, "I'm going to hold out for 6 months more or 9 months more and give my brokerage a shot, because I haven't been there for 2 years yet or something." And the objection, I handled that objection. I said, so what's going to change in the next 6 months to 9 months? Are they teaching how to generate? Are they teaching you how to generate more leads than you can handle? If they are, then stick with them. But you and I understand the definition of insanity, right? And so I got to really pour in to show him how KV Core worked, show him he's been posting ads already. He's been posting listings already, but those listings take him nowhere in terms of getting generated leads that go into his mailbox, not his broker's mailbox, not Zillow's mailbox, not Realtor.com's mailbox. And so when I shared that with him, he totally understood it. And what turned out to be a 6-month, I'll join you, Tom, turned out to be like, I'm ready to join you now. Because I was solving Abdul's problem, not my problem.
Yeah.
Which is hearing him. So Abdul, to answer your question is, my feeling is the best way to attract agents is to really just listen, right? You've got to really learn to ask a lot of questions and put yourself in their shoes. That's it. I mean, and it's hard. That's a hard skill to learn, to have a conversation instead of talking about yourself. Always try to reverse the conversation and talk about them. Right? It's pretty hard for most of us who are type A personality. We just want to talk about us, right? Dave, you want to chime in on that?
That's just a key. That's a key part of the success, right? It's just asking the questions and then listening and sitting on your hands And I always tell people, you really kind of need to find the wound and lovingly rub salt in it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've found that most people they've kind of given up. They've stopped paddling towards where they're going, and they're just kind of accepting what's happening in life. And if they don't feel the pain that they're in, right, they've numbed the pain, they've kind of they've got used to the pain, right? Then they don't really realize that it's there until it's too late. So like Abdul, for you, if you were willing to stay, to stay there, the heightened sense of urgency to achieve what you want to achieve and get where you want to get, it kind of, you get caught up in the daily tasks. I need to go do this, I need to go do that. And we're not focused on the goal that we're trying to achieve and how quickly are we getting to that goal, right? Because our focus gets off the goal and it comes on the tasks in front of us. And we don't realize that we feel like we're working really hard, but we're not getting any closer to our goal. And then what does that mean? What does that mean? So it's bringing back, what I found is bringing people back to their goal and where they need to be and what their time frame is to get there. When they all of a sudden that sense of urgency picks back up again, when they realize, oh my gosh, I've already wasted 6 months or a year or whatever, and I'm no closer to my goal than I was. Now I'm behind. So not only do I need to get where I want to go, but I need to get there twice as fast now because I'm behind.
That's a great comment there, Dave. So I'm following up with people who are for 6 years. For 6 years, I'm still following up with people, right? And I have notes on everybody. And so it's easy follow-up is, hey, it's April 19th. We spoke right at about December 19th at the year end. And you said for the next 5-6 months, you were going to do this with your brokerage. Unless you're doing a lot of it off market, I don't see it happening on MLS. The numbers don't lie, right? And I say, I really come right at him, say that, hey, you don't want me to cut through. You want me to cut through the crap, right? And just let's talk business because we're business people, right? So 5 months has gone by, and you said you're going to do 30 transactions this year, and you're supposed to, by the numbers, do about 13 or 12 already, and I see 2. Should we have a conversation again? Should we revisit your what's happening in your brokerage? Revisit all the things that you said you were going to get training on, that you're going to execute on, but you haven't executed yet. Okay, let's revisit that. So I go back at my notes and have these conversations with people. Another tip for you guys, and I'll get into the 2 questions that's in the chat. Another tip for you is, I love networking events. And I'm a social person to begin with. I wasn't always that way, by the way. I in high school and even in parts of halfway through the college, I was not a social guy. My hands would shake and sweat, and if I had to talk to anybody, all through high school. So becoming a salesperson and opening up and learning to be an extrovert instead of a natural introvert, it was something I continue to work on today. Why do I say that? Is because when I go to networking events, try this. Let me challenge you guys this. Try to get someone to talk about their dreams. It's very hard to do because as we all get older, we start to brush our dreams underneath the rug and start to collect dust. It gets all these cobwebs in their dreams because they can't dream anymore. They've been disappointed so many times in life that they can't dream like a little kid anymore. Okay? But if you can get them to peel back to the younger days when they could really dream without limitations, and then somehow tie that back to a business that provides for those dreams, you're really onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really onto something. And it might be just with the brokerage that they're at. But when they come to the realization, there's no way the brokerage or the platform that I'm currently with will ever provide me the means, the freedom, the time to really live out my dreams, the way I structure my business right now. If I'm constantly trading time for money to sell more houses, and I can't take 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away to an African safari, how in the world can I ever live that lifestyle I want to live? Right. And so,
yeah, you have to pull it away from units and volume and apply that to life impact, right? I mean, that's, what is achieving, selling that number of houses, hitting that, even making that much money, right? They may picture in their head kind of what that is, but they need to have clarity around how impactful that is to their lives, right? And what does that mean? And then the results that you have to tie into are their life changes. What do you want to have happen? Like, do you have financial pressures and concern and stress right now? Do you have debt? Are you afraid you don't have retirement? Are you afraid you can't pay for your kids' college? What is it that is bothering you right now that you're worried about achieving? Or what's the lifestyle that you aspire to have? Left column lifestyle, freedom, time, go out and experience the world, whatever it is. It could be anything. It could be just being able to pay your bills. What is that? And then what does that mean? And then tie it into this. And then how much closer are you to achieving that in your life? How, time moves really fast, right? And so they're speeding towards these milestone times where they pictured, how did you picture your life at the age you are right now? Is this how you pictured it? Right? Is this what you envisioned? Is this what you wanted? How do you picture it 5 years from now? And what's happening right now in your business that's going to change where you're going to be? Because if you're on the trajectory you're on right now, what will your life look like in 5 years? If it hasn't changed in the last 6 months or a year, guess what? In 5 years, it's not going to change. It's going to be the same. Are you cool with that? If you're in a great place and you're fine, then you don't have that much pain. Then maybe we're talking about a vision for a bigger life. Have you thought about achieving this? What good could you do? What causes could you support or what have you? But for most people, they're not where they hoped they would be. They're not where they pictured they would be at that time in their lives. And they have somewhere that they would rather be as far as situationally in 5 years from now. And if they're honest with themselves, they're probably not moving themselves towards that quickly enough.
right. And the hard thing is to get them to really understand that we can say it, but if they don't feel our emotions and stuff, then they might just not connect. And for me, how I get people to like let down their guard is I need to be vulnerable myself. I need to tell them that, hey, I have filed bankruptcy. Marissa and I have borrowed money from our younger brothers and sisters to make it out of hard times. There were days when her relationship and my relationship were very rocky because I was never home, because I was busting my chops learning real estate, door knocking until my knuckles bled. That's being vulnerable, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My shoes, I would put newspaper in and duct tape on top, below the newspaper, and then wear 2 pairs of socks because I couldn't afford to buy new shoes because there were holes in my shoes. Can you be that vulnerable to share with people so that they say, you know what? I'm so glad you shared that because I've been going through that, but I won't share my life with somebody else. And then you get to open up. That flower begins to blossom, and you can actually help them get to where they want to go because they can trust you now.
Yeah, you gotta be real with them. Yeah,
be real with them. And otherwise, who's gonna share with you your dreams? I don't know you from a hole in the wall. What do you mean share with you my dreams? Are you crazy? Right? No freaking way. That's so personal. What video to share when the center prospective agent, Sherry, and everybody, as fast as I could, I showed the program. As fast as I could, I showed the program. Even 6 years ago, Scott and Tracy came to my market. I saw them show the program 4 times. They did 4 lunch and learns, 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday, literally the first week in January when I joined. I watched them do the program, and I took feverish notes. I watched the video. They had their own video back then. Later on, Brett Gold had the Motto Explain program, right? And so I would show it as fast as I can. Because the one thing they kept telling me is, Tom, no matter what, it's your story. You see the business differently than Brent does, than Gene does, than Rob does. And if you really connect with, whoever Cal is and Mark is and Rochelle is, right? Inshallah, when you really understand who the people are, you can cater that presentation towards them. If you only are given 30 minutes, then do you want to hit on revenue share, or you want to just hit on lead generation or support? Maybe they're missing a lot of support. So maybe you want to talk about the support and get them into the cloud campus and meet with the state broker and prepare the state broker in advance about all the support that we're going to have. What's really important to them to make that first impression, right? But if you had to watch a video, then I think the best one is still done by Brent Gove, the modelexplain.com. But I do not send the video. I sit with them and I hit play. You gotta sit with them and hit play. Even on a Zoom call, you can hit play, watch their eyes, watch their reaction. If you know they're distracted, pause and ask them, hey, do you need to go take care of that feeding your dog? Do you need to go take care of that baby crying? Because this is so important. I would do you an injustice if I just allowed you to, if you weren't paying attention. I really put high value on the presentation, guys. There are many times when I'm showing the program for one of our agents, right? Because they're not quite ready to show it, and I'm showing the program, and I can tell that the prospect is distracted. And I would purposely say, hey, it sounds like you're kind of distracted. I would do you a total injustice if I kept talking with you and you're not really connecting with me. Let's reschedule for the next day. Let's reschedule for tomorrow, for tonight, when you're not as distracted. If you get that closing to worry about, go do the closing. I don't want to jam this in here, but it is so important. And I actually say that. I said, if I didn't pay attention that first time when I watched that video, I might have just blown it off, and this platform would not have changed my life. That's how important it is that I believe this is. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Never rush. I believe never rush through the program.
So Tom, we got 2 minutes left, and I think there's only one question left on here. Some great comments in there from Carly and some others, Kyle and stuff. But how do you manage the people that come over to you? So give us just a super quick overview, and we can dig into that again later too.
Weekly coaching and accountability calls for those who want to learn how to do sales. I do that on Monday. Weekly agent attraction calls. I do that on Fridays. On Wednesdays. Okay. And then we have, of course, we get them to plug into their state meetings. We remind them when their state meetings are. We have agents in like 35 states. At the beginning, when I personally sponsor somebody, I make sure that they plug into their local state meetings, right? Until it becomes a habit for them. At least they know about it, so I don't have to remind them anymore. But for the first 2 months, Marissa and I are on top of our frontline agents.
Yeah.
And then
is it okay if I just a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, honey. Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer that question specifically is I am like a systems person. So everything from the time that somebody is starting to inquire about the possibility of what life would look like when they join, we get them then. For every agent that joins our organization, I send them a private text message welcoming them, letting them know that we're going to be sending out information on top of what the state is doing for additional assistance that we have in place. And then there's the other thing about people, because you asked about management of the people that are in our organization. And if you have an organization of 3, this is not going to work, right? But as you're starting to build your numbers, people really, you're not going to necessarily know everybody anymore, but people really do appreciate things like recognition. So we do a lot by way of recognition, somebody that caps, somebody that icons, somebody that closed their first transaction, somebody that sponsored their first agent. We make a big deal out of that. And so that's another component of it, because again, Tom is the one that's making it rain, and I'm the one that's sort of putting all the buckets underneath. And so I know we talk about attrition being kind of a natural progression of our business, but I am one of those people that takes it personally when somebody leaves. So like we need to have an understanding of that. I know that you guys probably know Susan McLean, and so the systems she's put in place as far as mitigating that attrition is stuff that she and I have been working on for a long time.
That's it. Thank you. Reach. I'll leave you with an application called Reach. It's both on Android and on Apple. Both Marissa and I use it religiously to reach out to our agents by personally texting to their cell phone coming from our cell phone. Even though it's a group text, they don't know it's a group text. They think it's a one-on-one touch. It's done
Yeah,
wonders.
I think it's like $5 or something like that. It's a super cheap way to make sure that they're getting a personal experience. The other thing that Reach gives me the ability to do, like you guys know that there are regional rallies going on all across the country right now. We've got pockets of agents within different geographies that are not local to us, which happens naturally. So that Reach app gives me the ability to create spreadsheets of agents that are within that geography of those regional rallies. And we've been messaging them privately saying, did you get your ticket yet? Because that's the other thing about managing that many people is you've got to get them plugged into the systems and everything that EXP offers. The one thing that I hear from people and why they leave is because they felt like they were on an island and they didn't feel like they were part of the community and supported. So that's the question that I'm asking myself. How do we make that thing go away every day?
I love that. I love that. That's awesome,
Thank
guys.
you.
You take such good care of your group too. We see it out there and we see it evidence. You guys are out there supporting them and your guys are all over the place doing events and speaking and everything else like that. It's so fun. And I run into you guys at all the big events. Real quick, as we're out of time, but we have events. We have Build 24. Build is a growth focused event. You can't have growth without production. So that you also learn about production. You hear from top producing agents and how they're pouring into the industry and attracting others through what they're doing, right? We're talking about helping other people build and be successful in their business. But so we've got Build coming. And so Tom and Marissa have joined up with Kristen and I, and also with Vincent Koo. And we're going to be presenting Build. Brent asked us to lead this. Now Build is a regional event. And so it's going to be up in New Jersey, Northern Jersey at Crystal Springs Resort, August 1st and 2nd. There are still some early bird tickets available. It's like they're almost expired and they're almost gone. So it's $99 if you get the early bird. There's VIP for $4.99 if you want to eat dinner with the speakers and the executives and all that kind of stuff, and be ushered up to the front row and all that fun stuff. So that's coming up, guys. But it will sell out. It's only 400 seats. It's the only event north of Charlotte. Okay, so there's one in Orlando, there's one in Charlotte, and then we're the only other one. So you guys want to get signed up for it, check for us, and we'll be posting all of this, and we'll put the links out there to go do it. I think it's build24northeast.com. Build24northeast.com is where you can go and register. Once you register for the event, you'll get a link to get your room, and you can snag a room at this beautiful, beautiful resort. It's set up so it just is in the afternoon of day one, in the morning of day two. So you can come up and just do one night. You can come up in the morning, go to the event, spend the night, get up in the morning, do the event, and then drive home or fly or whatever. But you can also extend and enjoy the resort. You can, mastermind and mingle with some of the people there. We'll be there for a couple of days on either end, and would love to hang out with you. Did I miss anything, guys?
That's it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Bring your prospects. Let those events do the heavy lifting for those that are in it. This is an attraction call, so I'm going to make it really real for you guys. You're not doing this by yourself. If you get people to these events, then we will help you sponsor them. The biggest groups at EXP are the biggest promoters of these types of things. So it's not just get yourself there, get other people there too, get them around us.
Love it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Guys, thank you so much for being on and giving us so much time. We appreciate you. Amazing, amazing stuff. Loved hanging out with you. And we'll be talking really soon. Let's get this party started, guys. Let's go.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, guys, have a great trip this weekend. Have fun. Tom, no electronics. Be good.